Hey guys, it's Joe with Pocketnow.com. Today I'd like to show you another soft keyboard. This time it's called Thumb Keyboard, and it just came out of beta, and it's really got something cool tucked up its sleeve. Let's go take a look. Okay, so I've opened up a new document in Google Docs, and you can see down here I've got my soft input panel, or my input method editor, or my soft keyboard, whatever term you want to use. Hey, that's fine with me. And if you look at this, it looks pretty much like every other soft keyboard. It does have these little directional arrows on the bottom. That's so if you don't have a trackpad or a roll ball like a lot of the earlier Android devices do, but a lot of the newer ones don't, well, you can still position your cursor around using those. Kind of nice. It's a good thing to have. I like to be able to turn them off, and I haven't figured out how to do that yet because I don't need them. I've got a trackpad. But it looks just like anything, right? So we can come in here and type, and I learned a little trick, guys. I'm going to turn my phone so I can type a little more accurately. So I'm going to do the traditional hello world. Okay, so just like that, and of course I had to spell it wrong, so we're going to use those arrows and come back and change it to hello world. Now of course we can do the same thing over here on a new line. We'll say HELLO, and I've got big fat fingers, so I'm getting the I instead. And we do have autocomplete just like others, so we'll go ahead and complete that. So all in all, pretty cool, right? It's just a keyboard, nothing new, nothing novel, until you do this. So let's tip it on edge, and once we do that, and come back in here, check that out. So what we've got now is a split keyboard that we can type in a lot faster with our thumbs because it's all right there, split out, separated, kind of like an ergonomic keyboard for our thumbs while we're typing. So we can get in here and type it, and I practice this, I promise, but it's a little bit more difficult on camera because the phone's at a little bit of an angle. So, hello world, how are you? Long press to get the alternate key. Very neat. So that's about it. Or is it? So let's go in here and let's come back, turn that off, long press in our text box, and select input method. Now you can see I've got two input methods available here, and I'm going to turn this back into portrait. I've got thumb keyboard and I've got Android keyboard. So in thumb keyboard, let's go into some settings, and you can see what really makes this stand out. To get there, long press on your speech button. It's got that little settings icon up there, so we'll go ahead and tap and hold on that. I think I got it. Let's try that again. So now let's go into select layout. Now notice all these layouts that we've got. First of all, we've got phone standard. That's what you saw in this traditional portrait display. We then also have phone split large, phone split compact. So what that means is instead of having a finger keyboard, which is how I like to use it in portrait mode, versus a thumb keyboard, which is how I like to use it in landscape mode, this phone split will actually split the two halves of the keyboard up and down, make the keys bigger so that then you can thumb like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at that at the large version. Okay, so now we need to come back out of that, and we'll go back in. You know, I need to switch things around a little bit, so let me do that and I'll be right back. Alright, so here's a little bit better look at how we've got that split keyboard. We've got numbers, we've got symbols, we've even got those direction keys, and we've got the letters split out so you can thumb down here and thumb up here, and your keys are a little bit bigger. Not significantly bigger, but big enough to make a difference. Now, this brings me to my first issue with this keyboard, with this app. So let me go ahead and show you. We're going to go back into settings, and we're going to go into general keyboard settings, not select layout, and I'll show you why. We're actually already in there. So if we come in here, here's our settings, and we've got all kinds of cool stuff, and sound on our key press, haptic feedback, which was turned off by default. That's the vibration you feel when you press the buttons. So I turned that off, I turned that on. That's just preference. Vibration strength you can set to whatever you want. I left it the same. Theme, you've got all kinds of theming. Really kind of cool there. I'll show you a couple of those in a little bit. International keyboards. So we have QWERTY twice, QWERTY and QWERTZ. Azerty, still no Dvorak. I don't know why people don't like Dvorak. And then keyboard dimensions. Now that's kind of interesting, and it gets us into what makes this cool, and this can also be a tablet keyboard. So you can actually make the keyboard larger, smaller, change the layout if you're a tablet. That's why we had phone and tablet broken up. But back to what I was saying about what I don't particularly like, I think it's kind of buggy. If you go into keyboard layout, or layout keyboard rather, you can define a custom layout combination. Okay? Or you can come in here to some predefined stuff, which doesn't want to be answering me right now, so we'll turn that one back on. So if we come into the portrait layout, this is the layout that you see when it's in portrait mode, just like that. So I've just changed this from standard, which you saw first, to large, which I just showed you. You've also got this split compact layout, and then tablet layout 1, tablet layout 2 for 7-inch tablets, and then a tablet 10-inch layout. Okay. When you rotate it into landscape, you can have it set as a different layout. Now, there are some apps out there we've talked about before that let you define what keyboard you want to use in portrait versus landscape, and it swaps them out on the fly, which is really kind of slow because every time you rotate your phone, in addition to changing the orientation and moving all of the all the bitmaps, all the text, all that other stuff around, now it's also got to unload your existing soft keyboard and load in a new one, and so it takes a bit more time. Well, with this, it's the same keyboard, it's already loaded in, so I can define what I want in portrait and what I want in landscape. It doesn't come like this by default, so you have to go in and set it up. So we can come in here and say, hey, I want phone standard, split, yada yada yada, for my landscape layout as well. So let's go ahead and play with this a little bit. Let's say we've got a 7-inch tablet, okay, and then we'll test the layout. Well, up here, you can see what we had to begin with. Okay, when we rotate this, now you can see where that tablet keyboard is a little bit more present. So we've got the buttons over here, we've got the special characters, arrow keys, and numbers right there. Split, really kind of nice, so that's great, but it's too small for me to type. Well, that's the point. This is for a tablet. So this can be your one keyboard that you get used to on both your phone and your tablet. So really kind of neat. If you've got one of those larger phones, like an Evo or whatnot, you might be able to get away with, say, a 5-inch tablet type display for your keyboard here. Try it out, see what you like. Let's go into themes and see what they've got there. This comes stock with the Honeycomb style. So let's go ahead and try the iPad style. And before you guys say, hey, why do you want to do that? That's not all that cool. You're an Android guy. Well, I know, but flattery. It's the best form of whatever. So there we go. It looks very iPhone-like. It's got kind of these nice squares. The thing that I like about this that I don't like about the stock iPhone stuff is every time I've seen an iPhone or iPad, and I could be wrong with iOS 4 point whatever you guys are up to now, the keys are always uppercase. So when you start typing, they're always uppercase, and I don't know if I'm typing in uppercase or lowercase until I've actually typed something in. This actually does the Android method where what you see is what you get. So if you want something uppercase, no problem, there's uppercase, but then it switches to lowercase. Makes typing passwords a ton easier. So there's the iPad theme. Let's go ahead and look at another one. Let's look at wood. And the best way to go in and test this is right there. So there's wood. It's got kind of a wood grain in here, kind of translucent, almost transparent keys with kind of a nice museum type glow across the top. Alright, you done with that one? Okay, let's go back and see what we've got next, and we'll just kind of buzz through these. Glass, that sounds kind of self-explanatory, but we'll make sure it is what we think it is. So there it is. You've got some nice reflection lines going through it, a little bit more three-dimensional looking keys. Gingerbread. So very basic, what you'd expect. Nuance. And a couple of these, when we get down to the bottom, are really kind of cool. But I'll wait and show you there. So this is a little bit more basic, a little bit more flat with a blue, kind of gradient blue outline around the buttons. Kind of nice there around the main buttons so they stand out from the others. Honeycomb City. This is one of the ones that gets a little bit cooler than the others. So right there, it's got that honeycomb wallpaper that looks kind of Tron Legacy-like in the background. A little bit more of that indigo type purple or midnight purple in there. So a little bit more dimension. Looks a little more stylish. When you're on a honeycomb tablet or even a not honeycomb tablet that you're trying to make look like honeycomb, that can really help you out. Digital red. So just very basic, very droid-like with the kind of hinted at keys that aren't really there. The main keys have the red underline underneath. The other keys have the gray overline that goes up over the top. I don't know if that shows up very well on camera, but that's what we've got there. Go back in and look at Galaxy Tab. Very popular tablet, in case you guys aren't up on tablet news. Very simple, very clean. Thought I hit one more button there. Black. So that sounds pretty self-explanatory. And that it is a little bit more 3D, a little bit more rounded look to the buttons than some of the others that we've seen, which have looked relatively flat. This is where it gets kind of cool. We've got a couple more. Windows Phone 7. Let's look at that. Test that layout. So just very, very flat. Let me show you over here in this mode as well. So you can see there, just really flat, simple lines between the keys. And then, of course, it's on a nice gradient background. Very similar to Windows Phone 7 and what it looks like. And last but certainly not least, dark and light gray. We'll test that out. And there you go. Now, the keyboard, like I said, is very intuitive. It's very easy to use. It's nothing radically different than what you've used before until you start getting into this split keyboard. And especially when you start getting into this. In fact, let me go back and show you, because it's been, a little while since I showed you that, because we had to show you all the themes. Let's go back to the landscape layout, and I want to change this to the phone split large layout. Let's go back in and test that. So when you come back in here and look at it like this, you can see how those keys become very, very easy to type, easy to use, very friendly, and honestly really, really fast. It's something that I've enjoyed using. So let me tell you how long I've been using this. This I got as a beta, I don't remember if it was a private or a public beta, actually, to tell you the truth. I think it was public. And I've been using it off and on, this and SwiftKey X, for the last few weeks. I really have enjoyed using both of them, but I really seem to be going to this one just because the keys are bigger. I don't necessarily need that fancy predictive type like I get with the SwiftKey X app that we reviewed yesterday, day before. So there's the Droid theme applied to this. But it's just faster for me to type. Now, one of our viewers, a very astute viewer, said, okay, do you see the irony here? Here we are reviewing these on-screen keyboards on the T-Mobile G2, which is the US variant of the HTC Desire Z, which they have in Europe. And so far so good, all that's true and accurate. He says, why are you doing that? Because it's got one of the best hardware keyboards available on the market today. And that it does. I have to agree with them. one of the main reasons I got this phone, one of the main reasons I'm sticking with this phone for as long as I have been, is because of this keyboard. It's very nice, it's big enough for me to use, it's small enough to be compact, the keys are very responsive. It's a great keyboard. I like it a lot. You come in here and say, hello world, and I get exactly what I want. I get hello world. No problems, no futzing, no anything like that. In fact, the only times I've had any problems with this is when I've been using SwiftKeyX and it's tried to autocorrect something for me by inserting extra words that I really didn't want. But that's not a fault of the keyboard. So he says, you realize that's kind of ironic that you're showing us these soft keyboards on a device that's specifically built to have one of the best hard keyboards available. And yes, I do realize the irony. I didn't when I was originally filming these. But the point behind it is sometimes you don't want to flip out the keyboard and you just want to hurry and tap something out, especially if you are in portrait mode. In fact, I find I do the majority of my typing in portrait mode versus landscape mode, which is what the keyboard is, unless I'm typing out a very, very long email or I'm trying to craft a tweet that is like 150 characters long that I'm trying to squeeze down into 140 somehow. I need that extra level of precision that keyboard gives me. Other than that, I mean, most of my tweets are in this layout. Most of my Facebook stuff is in this layout. Pretty much everything I do, usernames, passwords, is in this layout just because I don't have to rotate. It's just faster for me to do it that way. So that's why I'm showing it to you. Also, once you start getting into stuff like this, I grab my shade to pull it down. Once you get this, that's big enough. I really don't need a physical keyboard. It's nice to have, but in all honesty, I'm going to try using this for a while, and I'm probably going to stick with this theme because I kind of dig it. The keys are big enough, and with the haptic feedback, that vibration when I push the keys, there's enough response that it's easy for me to know what I've pushed when I've pushed it, and the accuracy has just been phenomenal, other than the few little glitches that you've seen here shooting on camera where I'm kind of looking at it off at an odd angle. But when it's right in front of me, it's been great. So that's why. Thank you for the comment. It made me laugh. A lot of your comments make me think. This one actually made me laugh, so I appreciate that. So to that viewer, you know who you are. Thank you for your feedback. We do invite feedback, so please leave messages down underneath the YouTube video or over at Pocketnow.com in the comments section. We love hearing your opinions on them. If you've got a different theme that you like or a different layout, let us know why you like it, why you don't like it. If you've got suggestions or recommendations for the developer, usually the developers will come out and they'll read our articles and watch our videos on their own products, so it's a good way to get some very vocal feedback to them. We've done that recently with the, see if I can remember the name, the Sign app. I've actually been in a dialogue with the developer ever since then. Really nice guy, but it's a good way for us as users and enthusiasts to get a more vocal feedback to the developers. So really nice. So if you like seeing this kind of stuff, irony aside, make sure you give the video a big thumbs up. Of course, subscribe to our video channel if you haven't done so already, and head on over to Pocketnow.com, the website, because we do have articles over there that we don't cover in videos over here on the YouTube channel. So, for Pocketnow.com, showing off all kinds of cool soft keyboards, this one, the thumb keyboard, I'm Joe Levi.